One of the things that makes Brewster Baptist so special is our meditation garden. If you're here on the grounds of the church and you walk out to the back, you can see the wonderful work and care that hands throughout the years have tended to the wonderful plants and the tables and the paths, and whether it's pulling weeds or putting down mulch, Tom Sueda and our team of building and grounds folks and Sarah Kemp and her team of weekly volunteers on Wednesdays have done a wonderful job to maintain that space. I mention our meditation garden because today's theme is about being in the garden, and it comes from John chapter 20, verses 1 through 18. And you'll remember that early on the first day of the week, while it was still dark, Mary Magdalene went to the tomb and saw that the stone had been removed from the entrance. She came running to Simon Peter and the other disciple, the one whom Jesus loved and who left us this Gospel of John, and said, "They have taken the Lord out of the tomb, and we don't know where they have put him." And so, of course, Peter and John run to the tomb, and they see what's there, and they go and they tell their other disciples about the encounter that they've had, seeing and believing all that's happened. They went back to where they were staying, and who knows what they were waiting for? Did they know that they were waiting for Jesus to come and give his peace and his blessing to them? But Mary, she didn't go back home. She stood there at the place where this wonderful thing had happened, where they found the grave clothes lying there. Now Mary stood outside the tomb crying, and as she wept, she bent over to look into the tomb. As we hear about being in the garden today, I wonder what the garden of your heart looks like. As Pastor David shared with us a message on the parable of the sower this past Sunday, we think about the different kinds of soil. So is your soil, the soil of your heart, rocky? Is it thorny? Is it a path that's been trodden and that birds come and they find the word, the seed there, and they fly away? Or is it good and fertile soil which multiplies a crop 30, 60, and 100 times what was sown? Well, Mary's heart is fertile at this point as she's weeping and watering the ground with her tears. And so Mary is there, and she's standing outside the tomb weeping. She bends over to look into the tomb, and she saw two angels in blazing white, seated where Jesus' body had been, one at the head and the other at the foot. And they asked, "Woman, why are you crying?" There are many reasons that cause us to cry in our life, to cry out to God for peace, for comfort, for justice, for hope. Why are you crying? "They've taken my Lord away," she said, "and I don't know where they have put him." At this she turned and saw Jesus standing there, but she did not realize that it was Jesus. I think it's worth noting that the angels don't answer her question. They simply sit in the silence of her tears along with her. They ask her the question, they enable her to answer, and the response, it seems, to her request or her problem is that Jesus himself is there. And so he asks her, she didn't recognize that it was Jesus, "Why are you crying? Who are you looking for?" Thinking he was the gardener tending to the garden, she said, "Sir, if you've carried him away, tell me where you put him, and I will go and get him." And Jesus calls her name Mary. How many of us need to hear a word from the Lord today, just to hear him speak our name and say, "I'm with you, my beloved and faithful servant." And so she cries out, "Rabboni, my Lord, my teacher, my master, the one who opens my mind into new truths and who promises eternal life, the one who is the resurrection and the life." So much in that word, Rabboni, the teacher. Jesus says, "Don't hold on to me. I haven't yet ascended to the Father. Go instead to my brothers and tell them I'm ascending to my Father and your Father, to my God and your God." We think of Ruth in the Old Testament holding on to Naomi and clinging for dear life and saying, "Your God will be my God and your people will be my people." And so Mary was faithful to go and deliver this news, saying, "I have seen the Lord." And she told them that he had said these things to her. One of my favorite hymns, "In the Garden," is a representation of what I think is going on here between Jesus and Mary Magdalene. "I come to the garden alone, while the dew is still on the roses, and the voice I hear falling on my ear, the Son of God discloses. And he walks with me, and he talks with me, and he tells me I am his own. and the joy that we share as we tarry there, none other has ever known. Dear friend, may that joy be yours today, whether in your garden or BBC's meditation garden, or especially in the garden of your heart.